Happy Wednesday. Today we're going to talk about sight singing, the sight singing process. Should it involve writing? And this is probably a choir conversation, although it could be a general music, sort of middle school type conversation as well. But I digress. Let me introduce myself. My name is Andrea Oram. If you're new around here, welcome. I love teaching and I love mentoring new music teachers and helping them feel like they can thrive in the classroom, whether they have a degree or not in music. So let's chat a little bit. The sight singing process. Should it involve writing? Great question. I think the short answer for that for me personally is yes, it should involve writing. But what does that look like is the more challenging question, right? So for me, I use a curriculum called Conversational Solfege, which I find wonderful. But here's why I like that process. It's because of the writing step. And here's why. And it's not just because I want kids to write stuff. Like it's not like an extra like busy work step. It's not that at all. For me, it's a process of like a learning process. It's a moving that process from your brain and your eyes through your body to your hands through that process. Does that make sense? Maybe I'm not verbalizing it super well, but does that make sense to you? So, for example, if you are doing the process of sight singing, so you're looking at a page, you're looking at one line of music, and you are reading it, and you are processing what it is, you're processing the rhythms, you're processing the pitches, you're processing, it depends on if you have them sight sing on words or not. I sometimes do, it just depends on what it is. If it's another language, I definitely don't have them try the other language. I just have them sing a neutral syllable. But they're processing a lot of things. They're processing the pitches, they're processing the rhythms. If it's in a certain key, they're even processing that probably without realizing it. And so when you're doing all of that process, it's going through their brain in a certain way, and it's going super fast, right? But once you enter the writing step, once you add the writing piece to it, it kind of slows down that process. It slows down that process because you have to repeat the actual example a few times. So it's great for those students who need to hear it a few times. It's great for deepening that understanding by processing it more. And it requires them to be able to not just dictate back to you what it is, whatever the example is, but be able to process by writing down the things that they are normally used to just seeing go by. So for example, if you're just doing rhythm, they might process the rhythm, but by processing the rhythm just visually, they're not having as comprehensive of a picture as they are if they have to then process it orally through their ears into creating it visually. Does that make sense? Maybe that makes more sense, I think. I see some comments. I'm going to throw those up at the end here. But the reason why I think the sight singing process should involve writing is because I feel like it brings it full circle. So you process all of this information visually and create it, with your voice, but after you're singing it, as you're going by, it's flying by you. It goes by your eyes so fast. But then this writing process deepens the understanding, solidifies what you already know, and slows down that process a little bit because it's a smaller chunk. So it's great for those students who maybe struggle with the full process of sight singing. And I love sight singing, by the way. For me, it's a thrill. I don't know. It's kind of like a musical version of a roller coaster for me, sight singing, because it's just, you get to hear what's happening for the very first time. It's like a surprise for your ears, even though you know what's coming. At least I know what's coming when I'm processing it visually. And I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people just, it goes so fast that they're processing it more from their eyes than their ears. But for me, it just feels like a musical roller coaster, and it's so much fun. So I try and teach my students that experience too. I try and give them that same experience that I enjoy so much by helping them process all of that visual information, turn it into sound, and then having that writing process solidifies it. So I'm not going to take time today to go into the details of what the writing process looks like. That this system, that is something you can look into more on your own, or I'll be doing a training on it soon. But I want to encourage you that the writing step of the sightseeing process doesn't have to happen all the time. I do it in the course of 14 lessons, probably 2 or 3 times maximum, because I just don't have time to devote to that process all the time. But I love giving my students glimpses of it. And if you see your students a lot more often than I do, because I see most of mine once a week, then you're able to, indulge in that experience a little bit more often. But I see some comments. So I'm going to throw you up on screen, some of you who are commenting. I see Miss Lydia says, good morning. Good morning, my friend. You are so wonderful. And you say, oh, I think so. Deeper understanding through the physical action of writing. Yes, I know how much you are into writing, that writing process and writing things down and being able to process through the writing. That is so good. And you said that makes sense. Woohoo! Yay! I love it. So if you are a music teacher and you are not already in the community, new music teacher and support community, what are you waiting for? Check out the link in the description of this video. We talk a lot about these kinds of nerdy things, and I find it so much fun. The conversation is so helpful. If you have experience with some of the ways that you teach your students, or if you are looking for more specifics and more direction on that, that's what we talk about in the group. And I find it so much fun to be able to guide and be like a guide, be a confidant, be a resource for you. That's one of my joys. So go check that out. We'd love to have you. And if you're in the group, engage. It's so much fun. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Bye for now.